vacuuming thing. Dong. Well, that's my bad attempt at some music, but let's see how it goes. Managed to fix the camera, now higher resolution, and fixed the autofocus, which is good. So let's just dive into this. Everything goes in a box, everything comes back out of the box. Makes my life a tad bit easier. And today we are working on what looks like the middle mount stuff. Let's just tweak that. That's still loose. That's still loose. As loose as I like it. I don't see any point in making it any looser than that. The weight of the chassis should take care of everything else. So what do we need? We need... Let's go to desktop over camera. We need this. We need a lot of those. And we need that. I've got no idea what that is. I'm assuming it's that. We need white spaces. Let's actually see if we need something off the parts tree. Yep, need one of those. Cool. Oh, I forgot how good this plastic was. Oh, props to them for choosing great plastics. You have no idea what the amount of difference that makes. It just makes this entire process go so much smoother. Now, I can't actually remember where my side clips are, so I'm going to use these ones. These are flat on the bottom, so they are proper side cutters. Do I have any sprue to cut off? No. No, a tiny bit there. That came off remarkably cleanly. Gotta love that. Absolutely have to love that. I'm also working with a bit more space. I moved the speaker bar here, and that's freed up a lot of space and just made things generally a bit easier to work with. So, very nice improvement, that one. So, I know from experience the black set screws in here are 2 M8s. So let's fire that up. I did manage to touch up my overlay on the stream just to make it a bit more picturesque. So if anyone's been paying attention to some videos I uploaded basically at random, there's some Art of Rally footage, or not footage, some pictures up there. I was very tempted to have some footage there of me playing the game, but decided not to in the end because it would be a bit distracting. Although, to be honest, you're probably not here just for me building this stuff. We will measure that. Yeah, so I uploaded that basically at random. I spent a couple of weeks not streaming, fun enough, which was really, really good for my mental health in many ways, because scheduling time to stream is actually a bit not as easy as one would think. But ended up playing computer games for a week or two. And that was a very, very nice change of pace. And not one until, well, this year I've changed on that front a bit. But I hadn't played games in a very, very long time before that. I watch a lot of other people play games via streamers, and that seems to be the most cost-effective option. But there was a couple of games I really wanted to play. Battletech for one, which I need to take back up, but I've been waiting for the Art of Rally this entire year, and it finally came out and I jumped on it. And I think in the first week or two I dumped about 40 hours into it, all with the NB4 controller that I use on my Mini Z, and I definitely don't regret that at all. It was a lot of fun, although it's definitely been at the cost of getting some drifting practice in. Oh, come on, just find the right... Oh, you know why it didn't work? It's because there's no... So, not only is it that one, but I was also trying to put the screw in the wrong side. So we do that, we'll leave that like that. What do I need next? I need 6.5mm thingamajigs. So we do have a sprue for that, and we know which one that is this time. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. There we go. These ones... No, these are not even going to need to clean up either. Wow, plastic is so nice. Speaking of plastics, I managed to screw up my 3D printer, and that's going to take a tiny bit to fix. Nothing too major, but it's still going to be half an hour to fix, and I've got to find the time for that. It's this week is an exceptionally busy week for me, unfortunately. I had hoped to do this build back to back. It was a bit slower yesterday, but to be honest, it was actually kind of nice to talk to some people yesterday, so that was definitely a plus. Those servo mounts? Yeah, those servo mounts. So I need the inner arms in that case. Or maybe they're not. No, they're not. They're exactly what I'm looking for. It was nice to have people drop by the channel and just come by for a bit of a chat. Did slow me down, but I learned a couple of interesting things. And ended up watching a lot of YouTube videos afterwards because of that. I'd forgotten about those A202s. Rather nice little unit. So that's got a dot on that side. And that's just flash from the molding process. So let's get that in. Oh, this is not going to be easy, is it? I think we'll just pull out parts as I need them rather than try and getting them all out for the step all at once. Just so I can feel like this stream has actually been productive. Okay, that's resisting. So this vehicle is turning out to be something very, very nice. I do need to check what my body options are because I think this is a true 1/24th scale. And if it doesn't take mini Z bodies, that means I'm out of luck. And that means I'm going to have to get a body for it. Now, I've had a couple of thoughts. And I could get, you know, the usual nice fancy body and R8 or something like that, or you know, that's not even in straight, is it? Oh, they're both off center. Okay, I'll just leave that as. But I'd really like to go for a K-car drift van. Don't know if I want the little flat van style or ute style, or if I actually want like a proper family hauler van type thing. It's kind of funny. So in Australia, we call some of our vehicles slightly different things, and we've got more distinction in other places where everyone treats things as an entire category. So for us, a van would include those family hauler type things, or not. Maybe I just don't understand enough about cars and classifications. But there we go. Clean that up. So yeah, I'd like to possibly do a K-car style van. I know WL Toys just produced a nice little van that people are using for drifting purposes, and I'd like something smaller basically. I like my small cars, and this might be the perfect chassis for it. So actually, in other news, there may be a TechStorm. God, I can't even remember the XRX. Yeah, a TechStorm XRX in my future. I was looking at. God, I've completely forgotten his name. There was a guy who did a review of it, and I showed it up on the last stream. I really shouldn't forget names like that. I do apologize. In fact, why don't I just look at my YouTube video history, subscriptions, and then if we scroll down. In fact, I'll just do this on camera. Oh, here we go. Garage RC. So you can see how many, like I'm subscribed to about 1,000 people, and in a day, that's just a day's worth of videos. So nice selection here. But Garage RC with the XRX. So I put an order for that. Originally I was looking at Garage RC's website, but Unfortunately, due to the price of the British pound at the moment, that's a rather expensive option for me. But what killed it was the £100 shipping, whereas I ordered it directly from the manufacturer, who I think is either in Thailand or Indonesia, and it's $10 shipping. So, and I've got a much better exchange rate to that country. Great, that piece just went flying somewhere and I've got no idea where it went. There it is. Cool. So too long, didn't read. I got funny enough, a K-Van body for that in Perspex that's coming, and I'm looking forward to that. And I might use it on this depending on the scale of it. And for that actual body, I'm actually looking at either the Celica rally car or one of the Subarus. Now, Kyosho, let's do this on stream again. So let's bring up RC Mart first. I spend way too much time on RC Mart's website. If we scroll down to the bottom, blah, 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 scale it off. The screen just arrived. I should be building, not doing videos. Ooh, DS Racing. And more Kyosho parts. I need to stop getting distracted. Oh yeah, they've got the new Mini Z special bodies. Not worth it, but interesting to note. So they've got the WRC 2002 model in reprint. And this is the ready to run, not just the body. So I'm waiting for the just the body to come out. But this is the body I wanted. So I will be possibly looking to pick that one up. Cool. Back building. Too many hobbies, too little time. In fact, I was literally just talking to someone about that. So I've got a friend who was unfortunately let go from his position, very, very high up in management for an IT company. Who's got all the time in his hands and doesn't have the ability to spend that time on whatever he wants. Which kind of sucks. Let's stop in here. There you go. Yeah, which is a real shame. I would love to quit my job and just work on Mini Zs and Mini Z videos, but I'm definitely not at a point where I can go professional with it. There are people who are way, way better at the Mini Z videos than I am. Okay, that's 14 mil. So basically what you're seeing here is not me trying to be professional at YouTube, but me just having fun and relaxing. And for some very, very weird reason, people watch that. In fact, I might even do a quick preview of my YouTube stats, because I was going to do a video on that anyway. And people may actually be interested. It's been interesting seeing the numbers go down since the DIZ build videos, but they're still relatively high. I've got a feeling that those DIZ build videos are propping up the numbers, but hey, that's what happens. YouTube Studio, open new tab. Bam, let's put you over here. 184 subscribers, picked up a couple this week. I'm seeing some really weird numbers with, yeah, so I released a video yesterday and it picked up. I was averaging about 50 subscribers per month and about 3,000 views last month. This is still pretty impressive, but the watch time is pretty crazy, especially for some of these longer builds. So this gives you a brief rundown of what my numbers look like at the moment. Feel free to pause it and just have a look. I'll be doing a more in-depth video about this. I've gone through and I've made some decisions that are not necessarily good for my channel. Like my content is optimized for PC viewing, not for viewing on a mobile phone, but most of my viewers are from a mobile phone. And as you can see here, like midnight corresponds to US times. So most of my viewership's actually located in the US, which is interesting. And here is normally Asia related. So yeah, I mean, as you can see, this US is really standing out. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, pretty predictable. Older audience, which I thought was rather interesting. About my age bracket, which is good. So I fall into this age bracket roughly. Bum, 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 bum. We go to the videos. This is where it's interesting. So you see the high viewership for the build videos, and like 568, but then you go to the light, contrast that against my newer videos, which I stream live direct to YouTube, and the numbers are a bit lower. So it doesn't really bother me too much, but these were a bit surprising. But that's content for another stream, so we'll forget about that for the moment. Let's go back to the build. So I've got those pins and I need that to go on there. So we will put these in here. Oh, it's getting warm today. I tell you what, summer is going to hit like a truck in Sydney this year. It's, I think I mentioned this on another stream, but I found out, this is going to sound very, very weird. I found out the rest of the world has seasons. Now here in Australia, we've basically got warm and less warm. So the per season variation basically doesn't exist. Everything just feels like a continuation of summer, except for maybe a week or two in winter, where it does actually get cold enough you have to put a jumper on. But I didn't realize that people in other countries base entire activities around these changes in the season. So like Halloween being when it is doesn't make much sense. It just seems rather arbitrary. But when you look at other countries, it kind of makes a bit more sense that, okay, they're on the other side of the planet. It may just be going into winter or something like that. So yeah, that was interesting. Oh, that flew across the room. Okay, how many do I have on there? I've only got the one. This is actually really hard to do. So I kind of like that the weather's the same all around, and I don't really like the idea of the seasonal hobbies and holidays. But now at least I understand it. I would love to move to Canada though. A lot of snow there. Come on, pick up. Now I'm probably going to stop myself before I say anything stupid, which I'm prone to doing. Yeah, as if I haven't said anything stupid already. Oh, right there. Right there. In fact, let's swap the screen back over to camera over desk. Actually, what is on that? Oh, that's right, it's just some code. I'm fortunate enough to be a very, very competent programmer and systems administrator, or site reliability engineer as they call them these days. Which means I'm responsible for making sure stuff does not fail. Okay, and that goes into the U shape, which I've yet to find, but that's not important. The other interesting piece of news is we just went into daylight savings, so we're now UTC plus 11. Typically we're plus 10. So that means that I have Monday way before you guys, and the new year starts a lot earlier for me. If in the US, about 17 hours earlier, depending on if you're on the east or the west coast. But that's why it's actually light outside at the moment. I don't know if you can see in the background. You can see a bit through the hallway. This camera, I think I've got the contrast set up a bit too high, so the differences, the shadows are very, very dark. I was shooting some moody footage for the rally truck, and it made it look good. I'm not gonna lie, it made it look good. Maybe I'll just put these on by hand. So I've had some setbacks with the rally truck, not so much with the rally truck itself, but something else that's related that I'm working on it. And that's kind of stalled development a bit, unfortunately. So I might dive back into the rally truck later tonight and see how it goes. There's another product I'm working on called Pace Notes. It's turns out the LCD driver is not nearly as simple as I thought it'd be to write, due to a whole bunch of really bad design decisions by other people. It's kind of crazy how you would think computer software gets better over time, but every year I go back and look at computer software and how it's designed, and it seems poorer and poorer and poorer. Okay, put that back in there. Like, sure, you can write larger projects, but the only reason you need to write larger projects is because you've got more people to support, and the only reason you have more people to support, or so people doing development, and the only reason you have more people doing development is because you've got a larger project, and it's this weird, horrible feedback loop. It's like no one's really understood the lessons from the Mythical Man Month and applied them. And it's funny because I'll bring that up in an organisation. I thought it was like standard reading, and it blows people's minds that adding people doesn't make things faster. But I shouldn't complain, that's keeping me employed these days. Set that piece there. No, it's a U-shaped cross member, which is that. Okay, so let's do a parts count in a moment and make sure I've got all the parts for this step. I have that. I've done that. I have done that and that. So I need to do this part here. So I need the M23 ball connectors. Actually, what screws do I need? M24s as well, with countersunks. Isn't you? Just watch as I flail madly. Well, okay, let's cheat. Let's get the ball connectors out. Let's cheat and put some stuff away as I go. Get that where I need it. Some of those white spaces that have magically appeared. Having very bright lights actually makes identifying those spaces so much easier. M24 countersunks, done. And I need M25 rounded head. That's M26. I hope this isn't a case where they give you 1 mil different. No. Let's go back to the drawing board. Oh, here we go. M25RH. And put that over there. Okay, so what do we need? We need 2 of the countersunks and start assembling the bulkhead. Actually, what's the time? Wow, getting close to dinner time. Actually, the clock on the screen? No, awesome. So you guys have no idea what it is if you're watching this on YouTube, which is perfect for me. Okay, so the carbon fibre and the plastic mate very well, which is really nice. There's no sprues or anything I had to clean up, which is always appreciated. Although this has some flash on it, which won't cause performance issues, but there's no reason why we can't just clean that off. So if you see flash or excess plastic that's very thin, that's normally a sign that the mold they're using is worn out or hasn't been manufactured properly. Well, actually, that's wrong. Manufactured to a lower quality. It's not really an issue in practice. You can always just take a file to it. Unless, of course, it's due to just wear and tear and age, in which case they really need to do something about it. Given the age of this model, I think it's just they've made it to lower tolerances, and to be honest, that's fine. It's not much of an issue. What happens is, as you squirt the molten plastic into the mold, it actually causes wear and tear at the edges where the metal meets, and even forces the mold apart slightly, and that's why you get that excess plastic, because it's actually formed in cracks between the metal plates. Now, this is going much faster without someone to distract me, but not nearly as much fun. So Daniel, that was a lot of entertainment yesterday. Feel free to drop by again at some point. Definitely want to hear more about that A202 and see some speedrun videos. Doesn't have to be good. Well, actually I lie. There's a couple of ways to make your video good on YouTube, and they're very, very simple. Get the aperture right, or the exposure right, which in most cases you can just leave it on auto. But if you leave it on auto, make sure you've got good lighting, so direct sunlight. 2 p.m. in the afternoon is good. Anything beyond 3 or 4 and the light levels start to die down, but due to how the eye responds versus how the camera responds, it may look good to the eye but not necessarily to the camera, and that's one of those tricky things I've picked up over the years. But also just don't hold it in your hand. If you use your phone, like rest it against something, or put it on a a camera stand or something like that. And just doing that will instantly make your videos a lot better. And you don't necessarily need to talk. You can talk if you want, but there's nothing stopping you from uploading a couple of videos and then learning from those videos. And I'm more than willing to provide advice. Now, I wouldn't say I'm good at cameras and camera stuff, but I'm definitely seem to know a bit more than the average person. That's just due to having family that did a lot of photography. Actually, maybe I can rest it on there. So I'm just trying to push this pinion through, but the actual spacers I added earlier provide enough resistance that it's not making it easy. And I want to have a flat bottom. And in fact, what I might do is do it off camera slightly. Oh, that's actually on camera now. Awesome. Whoops. My finger grabby things are not working particularly well today. God, now I feel like an old person. Well, I am, but who cares? Maybe over here in the corner? Yeah, that seems better. If I hold it like that. And then you drop the pin. Never be afraid to use blue tack. I'm not going to, but never be afraid to use it. What I'm actually going to do is move that up there and then clamp it and push it down like so. And that should give me the purchase I need to push it down. Yes, that worked. Okay, cool. I'm not even going to try it with the arm on, so let's push it down. That's looking good. It's feeling good. Did that go through? No, that didn't. Okay, so now that I've got it staying in. Perfect. Now we pull that out and repeat. Cool. Done and done. Bam and bam. Okay, so let's start making this look like the picture. Oh, I was actually supposed to screw those on by now. Is that a problem? Not really. I can do that in a sec. Okay, those arms go on, and you know what's really nice? No filing. Look at that. That is just perfect. And then we go on top like that. And I'm assuming that's going to screw down. Yes, it is. And given how everything's lining up, let's just... I shouldn't have skipped that step. Let's put these in. And so here I was thinking we're going to make great progress, and I think we've barely gone past the first page I opened today. There should be that head. No. Although that. No. Come on, hex bit. Feels better, but no. Looking promising. No. Okay. What do I have stashed away? I'm going to make a note of which one it is today. Yeah, that's that one. And let's move those bits over there, and then dispose of those other, or hide those other bits away so I don't use them. Productive as always. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, 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 bam. Okay, screw that in. The other thing that's been nice is I haven't screwed something in at the wrong angle once so far. Everything seems to just screw in dead flat. Now don't get me wrong, the arms did seem to be off center, but they seem to be identically off center, so I think they're supposed to be ever so slightly bent back. Or if they aren't, at least they're both bent back in the exact same way, which means I don't have to worry about asymmetry. But yeah, like these ball joints, for example, are just going in dead straight. No real issues. I'm actually surprised because it's got that lacquer on the inside that I was talking about in the last video. And that can normally lead to some unevenness. That means it's very easy to go off center, but I'm not seeing a single sign of that. So let's reassemble this front bit. Make sure I've got the arms the right way around, which is important. I screwed that up on the GLD, and that wasn't particularly hard to fix, but it was annoying. So I'm pretty sure we use a round, yeah, we use a round headed screws here. Also known as button heads. They sort of exaggerate that it's got like a flat lip or something, but these ones definitely don't. Or do they? No, they don't. They're just pure button heads. Right. It's been a remarkably solid build so far. Okay, now we play the which hex bit do I need? Actually, I hadn't noticed that, but everything is hex bits. That's really, really nice. I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't include an Allen key because everyone else seems to. And I've got mixed feelings about that. I've got way too many cheap and bad Allen. You go there so I don't lose you. I've got a lot of cheap and bad Allen key sets from various model kits. And then I've got this high quality interchangeable head screwdriver, which I really love using. So I don't really need the cheap kits, but and I mean, oh yeah, with some of these, like they're already, I have to be careful with the plastic here. Don't want to strip that out. Okay, so now there's a bit of binding, but that's fine because we can just bend the plastic a bit. See how that goes, and just force and tweak it. Still a bit tight. I'm going to leave that as is, and we'll check out the next step and then address whether or not I need to disassemble and clean that up. Because that's going to take a bit, and I'm going to have to locate my sandpaper, which I don't know where I've put it at the moment. But for the interested parties, that's currently looking like that. So that should just flow down, but it's a bit tight. I really should be interacting with the camera a bit more, but not today, not to be. You know what? I should probably order some food. I could cook, but I think I need some fast food. One thing I've noticed is ever since lockdown, I have not been eating enough fatty foods, and so I've been losing quite a bit of weight. Got the opposite problem to basically everyone on the planet. We're definitely going to have to sandpaper this down, there's no doubt about that. I could take off a spacer or two, but that actually changes the... let me think. Camber, toe in, toe out, caster. Affects a caster. There's a couple of ways we can do this. Sandpaper, file, or scalpel. That's what my caliper's got too. Now, would you believe that having bad files can actually be an advantage sometimes because it takes off less material? So we're going to flatten this edge here. Just light sanding, and you always want to swap which side you're on, but I'm trying to sand both at the same time so that they're flattened against each other, or they've got the same point of reference. Now with a file, you don't have to push too hard. You can push hard and take more material off in each pass, but there's no point. It just makes it too easy to damage something. So I'm going to squeeze that tightly, and that's still got a bit of movement. Screw that in, and let's see how that works. It's better, but I'm going to have to take off some more. So let's take a look at the surfaces here. They're going to have some scratch lines. Oh, it's because I've got the fixed focus. There's some minor scratch lines there. So I'm going to switch to the diamond file and just go really lightly on it. I probably should be polishing this off with sandpaper at this point. Just can't remember where I put my sandpaper. Is that it there? No. So I guess this is one distinction between this and, like, say, the DIZ kit is there's no sandpaper, but like, to be honest, you need more than one type of sandpaper to finish most of these models, so it doesn't really matter too much. Oh, actually, once again, we're going to do the similar point of reference, so we're going to try and do both at once. Gripping these is going to be half the challenge. Okay, there's a reasonable finger hold there. So we line these up as best we can and start taking a bit off. Now I am actually pushing a bit harder because I want to take off more material, but only for a couple of passes. And then I'm going to back off a bit and just go slowly. And remember to just do a couple of passes and then eyeball it. You really want to make sure that that is a 90-degree angle and that you haven't accidentally taken too much off that side or dug too much into that side. So it's not the end of the world, but if you get it wrong, you will notice that it wobbles in weird places a bit more than usual. Okay, let's back you up onto there. If I can work my fingers properly today. There we go. And let's put that in. Now I did notice when I put this screw in originally, it got to a point where I didn't feel any resistance, but it was still rotating. So I'm just being very, very careful. That's looking perfect. Just being very, very careful not to over tighten it. And I can feel it rocking forward back a tiny bit, but interestingly, I think if I tighten the screw further, that will actually fix that issue. And it's barely visible, even at my end. Yeah, so that's gotten rid of the play back and forward, and it's moving. The arm's sort of coming down on its own. I could take some more off, but I'm actually normally pretty happy with that because there's fairly little resistance. I could take it. Actually, you know what? People are going to complain if I don't. I'm going to do another 2 passes with the file, and you'll see what I mean by 2 passes. So, 1, 2. I literally mean 2 passes with the file. That should be sufficient. Now, how did I know 2 passes? Well, I could be wrong, but I'm going to say experience. I think it's more of a justification of just how much more work I wanted to put into that. Okay, so let's see did I get this right? Is it actually a 3-pass thing? Well, actually, it looks like it's dependent on how tight I've got the screw. Yeah, very dependent. If I pull that out, what if I... Actually feels tighter now for some reason. I'm not sure why. Did I accidentally use the wrong arm? I might have. Let's try the other arm and see what happens, because that one is unacceptably tight. Okay. Yeah, okay. It was just which one I used. So as you can see, it's loose. Can I go any tighter on that? I don't think I can. But that's fine. So let's see, do we have any play? We do. But I think once that's attached to the body, that'll actually work itself out. So, I mean, when it comes to these things, paying attention to the front suspension really makes a difference, apparently. No, I have seen it make a difference. It's hard to quantify, in all honesty. So we tighten up this side, and we have... So we definitely want to... I actually want to say this is probably about 5 passes with the file to fix. Might even swap back to this one. Now for that type of work, I actually moved the plastic rather than the file itself. Experiment. There's a couple of ways to do it. and some are easier for doing particular tasks than others. For smaller parts you have to grip, it's normally easier to move the part itself rather than the file due to issues of basically leverage. It still needs a tiny bit more work. I'm seeing a very, very weird little blue light that indicates it's just Al racing. So my comment on his video, he's building a DIZ V2. He or she is building a DIZ V2 and working on the front end as well. And had a video of just having everything working perfectly, which was kind of nice to look at. So they were basically they were doing exactly what I'm doing now. Who would have thought? So given that the arms rotate so easily on the pins, that's actually a good sign because that's one less thing you have to worry about. Like polishing pins to reduce the diameter or reaming out the insides of the arms is not a fun thing to do. Okay, now that I've actually got that side near perfect, okay, the resistance is about equal now. I do want to give that one more pass. I'm being a bit of a perfectionist here, but people keep on telling me it'll pay off. I'm just going to have to believe them. Let's pull that. You can actually overdo this, funnily enough. If you overdo it, you get more play in the camber. Which, I mean, if the wheels are under power, should not be too much of an issue. It's when you're just transitioning from braking or acceleration to braking the other way around that you may get a bit of wobble. It'd be imperceptible, but it'd probably be enough to affect your steering. So if you did that while you're turning, yeah, I suppose that could actually that could be an issue. Yeah, okay, they feel about even. Best way to do it is actually grab each arm and do that, because if one's harder than the other, it's actually normally pretty obvious. And you'd be surprised at how sensitive your fingers are to resistance when you're doing that. Cool, let's go on to the next page, and then do I order... You know what? I'm going to order some food, and we will use that time when I finish up. And that will allow me to put on some more weight. I really shouldn't talk about my personal problems. But as I said, I'm here to relax more than anything else. And of course, they screwed up the order. You would think if you clicked reorder the same thing, it would actually allow you to order that. But no. I want that, and that, and that. Add to order. Check out that. I really shouldn't do this on stream. But I just want to get back to building, so let's knock this out of the park. It's either this or I quit now and do some cooking, but cooking can wait. Home cooked meals can wait till Thursday. Right. Let's save that there. Cool. And bam, that's ordered. Okay, so now we finally get to use some of the metal parts. This should be pretty fun to build. So this is the actual steering setup. It's the actual swing arms themselves. And you and you. Yep, and I will need that center bar, which is you. Oh, that's metal. That's interesting. And I need the metal columns, which are in here, or are they up here? No, they're there. And I will need shims, which I'll look at in a minute. We are going to need our ball connectors, M24s. No M24s, but we do need M25 rounded heads, M25 rounded heads, and we need set screws. How many do we need? We just need the one. Which is in here. So we have you, we have you and you, we just need you two. So we need copper sleeves. Which is you. And we need shims. So we need M3.5. 0.2s, 0.2s. The nice thing about the Ziploc bags is with the ceramic cutter, I just cut them open and then it's easy for them to fall out. At least these are resealable. So you can see all the material I removed off the plastic there. Maybe if I make it into a pile, maybe not. I mean, you can see it a tiny bit on screen, but it's actually more than you'd think, and it's a pain to clean up. I shouldn't have just wiped it all over the place. But I am not a smart person. Okay, so these arms are not symmetrical. So let's have a closer look. Shims go into those arms, so that's got to be the smaller arm on there. So small arms at the back, we'll do that. I'll put the ball heads in there. I will have food in roughly 30 minutes. So we're now literally racing against time. Only I had some sort of 1/24th scale car to outrun time. Actually, maybe I should just do a DeLorean. That could be an interesting one. You know, it's funny, I actually don't like the DeLorean time travel car as a car. I much prefer the original. But it is kind of surprising how many people have recreated and just how good a job they've done. I was looking at the Mini Z Batman car, so there is actually an official one. That would be nice to have, but not at, I think it's probably about 150 USD. Like it costs, the cheapest one I've seen cost more than a full ready to run Mini Z. Or even a Pro chassis. That was pretty crazy. Okay. Let's shim this all up. I'm going to use the tweezers for this part. Oh, they fit in very, very nicely. a lot nicer than I thought they would, which is kind of good. I thought there'd be some tension or friction preventing them going in, but they're just sliding right in. Now they do stick up above the surface, and I'm kind of alright with that. So what do we want to do? That one's got a ball end on it. The M28 goes there, so let's start setting stuff up. Whoops. I think we will do this bottom connector first. Just makes sense to do that. So we're going to need spacers on the bottom. And I'm just going to pull these off my hand, put them back. Now we only needed 4 of those. Make sure we seal that up, because these are likely to be a rare commodity. Let's put you there. It does seem like we've been given extra spaces, which is definitely a big win. Like I've commented before in the last video that Atomic is really painful for this because they just give you just enough, or like 1 extra, and they was just so easy to lose. To the point where I just bought a bag of them in the end. It's one of the things I really don't like about Atomic. They cheap out on the weirdest things. Like, it's hard to say that they've got a premium product. It seems like they give you quality parts of the core, and then sort of expect you to buy a whole lot of extra stuff. I don't think that's intentional on their part. I don't want that to be construed as me saying that, but I've had to just buy so many replacement parts and spares and things that it's hard to ignore. Okay, so we just want the screw at this point. Yes. Which screw though? We wanted the rounded hat, so we need 3 of these. And given how that went together, I might screw that into the middle part as well. Okay, so we've got just enough screws. That's interesting. That's actually very, very interesting. I mean, screws are hard to lose, but I would assume screws are cheap. I don't know why you wouldn't just throw in 1 or 2 extras. Now, this is interesting. It's not necessarily going in straight. Okay, that's better. Now, let's see how this works. There is a bit of up and down play, okay? Is that because the spacers are catching? Possibly. Let's back it out half a turn. And then, yep, it does look like the spacers are catching. So there is actually a trick for this. And that's a scalpel. Just put it in. You're not going to be able to see this on camera, but put it in and just leverage them down. Okay, so there's always going to be a bit of play by the looks of this. Okay, that's better. And then if we build this upside down. Okay, I've now guaranteed that the spacers are on top, but that seems really, really weird. That seems exceptionally weird. I mean, it's smooth, but I suppose it doesn't matter if it moves up and down, right? Because it's only lateral motion. Yeah, actually, that does make sense. I was going to say, oh, put the arm on backwards like that, but it turns out you just go like that. So, Let's stick it onto this middle part. It goes on the outside. And that's just one of these screws. Man, I'd forgotten how much fun this stuff is. So I realise why there's not many people jumping on stream, and that's because over here in Sydney it's almost 7:30. And most people would be eating their dinner right about now. But according to YouTube, it doesn't matter what time you upload your videos. So it's probably not a problem if you believe them. Why doesn't that go through? Right, okay. Right. So there's an indentation. Oh, is there an indentation on here as well? No, okay. So does that mean the brass spacer goes in that indentation? Doesn't appear to. Oh, this is tricky. It's almost as if the screw isn't long enough. So that spacer definitely goes in somehow. I'm actually going to see if it works if I just put the spacer into the hole first. I don't think it does, but I can still try clamping it down. No, okay. So I'm going to just pre-install the screw and just see what happens. And yeah, that spacer is just way too high. Which would match with what I'm seeing on the front, to be honest. Like, these spacers seem like they're a mil too long. Like, there shouldn't be that much play. Like, if we have a look at the picture, yeah, these are all flush, but that can't ever work with these spacers. Spacers are just too long. So there's 6 mil apparently. Let's verify that. So if I go off and oh, they're the columns. Copper sleeve times 2. So these are about 3.5 mil wide. Yeah, 3.5. And the carbon fiber is 2.5 mil. So that means there has to be a 1 mil recess. Okay, so maybe I have screwed it onto the wrong side on this one. Something bounced. Oh, it's probably just a copper sleeve. Let's try the other side for this and see if this helps address the issue. It's kind of weird that they don't call out that that's... You can't actually even see that there's a recess on there. Oh, that's right, I've got the spacers. Okay, that is actually looking a bit better. Not perfect, but okay, no. Stand corrected. Although, wow, if you over tighten that, does that... Oh, that actually tightens the entire thing up. That's a real pain. Wow, okay. So be careful when you're tightening these screws. It could actually ruin your entire front end, which I think I've just done. it seems you can over compress it, and that's now stiff. I don't know if I'll be able to fix that. I can definitely cheat. It's gonna have to back out all the way, isn't it? But oh wow, that's fully captured. That's not good. So that's likely flared out, I think. There we go. So let's put the screw back in and see if it's still loose. Drop those spacers off. So I'm grasping the brass thing and just rotating it. And that feels smooth. Okay. Not gonna lie, this is a bit weird. Yeah, that doesn't want to fit through the hole, so I'm gonna swap. Oh, now that screw's actually stuck on there. Wow. Okay, we're gonna have to squeeze it back into shape, I think. That's a really bad design. I'm not happy with that in the slightest. Brass spacers seem like a good idea, but if you can over tighten it and over torque it and cause issues, I'm not really happy with how that works. So let's see if we can work out how to put the spacers on. This is all, what seemed like a simple design is now really kind of complex to get together. And it's not immediately obvious from the instructions. There we go. Just stop breathing while that happens, because that was pretty nerve-wracking, not gonna lie. Okay, I'm reasonably confident that's over the top of the copper ring. And I think we're just gonna be careful about tightening it up this time. So that's still flowing. It's actually a tiny bit of play, but we're just going to be careful as I'm tightening it. So half a turn and make sure it's still falling down, basically. Okay, now it's tightening up, so we back off a bit. And it's still stiff, but I can live with that. There is no vertical play off. Well, there's a tiny bit, but I wouldn't worry about that too much. Which way does it have to be like that? Okay, so let's move on in this case. Such delicate work. I am going to stop after I've got these spacers on. Food will be here shortly. And I'm not going to be able to make any progress. Did I just lose it? No, there it is. Oh, I hate freaking spacers. I so freaking hate them. Best way to get a spacer on is actually to drag it across, not try and place it from the top. There we go, that's one down. So I'm very lightly grasping it from the sides, not applying too much force or it flies off like that. If you're wondering how I've got, I should say good control, but after flicking off like that, you may disagree with me. So good, how my control of all of this is really good. Very, very early on in my life, I had to do a lot of stuff with the chopsticks. And I got very, very good at manipulating things with chopsticks. It was a challenge given to me, basically, and I took up that challenge and was rather successful. Okay, put it in like that. It's off center, but that's fine. I'll move that back towards the middle of the screen. I'm actually pretty badly hunched over right now, which is not a good sign. It means I'm taking this a bit too seriously. Oh, that's actually that weird pin arrangement. Oh. Almost lost a screw. Just grab that set screw out and get that on. Oh, those screws are familiar. Which means I need to move to this. Yes. Bingo. Oh no, don't let the spaces fall off. Okay, cool. That feels like the bottom, and it is, and I'll just eyeball that while I back it out. That's going to need some super glue on the bottom. I'm not particularly confident in that joint. Grab one of these. Doesn't look directional. That just slides over the top, which does not fill me with confidence. Yeah, not at all. That comes off a bit too easy. Is this truly an M26 though? Yes, that's 6mm and 4mm in diameter. Okay. How is that? So that's an M28 I'm using here. And then I need a ball screw. But I can't see how this ball screw is going to fit in the M28 either. Is there something I'm missing here? Like I'm assuming we've only got the one type of ball screw here, which may be incorrect. Oh no, that looks like it'll torque in. Okay, so let's swap to you actually. Yep, that's the right choice. No, that doesn't torque in. Huh. But it did torque into the bottom, so maybe it's one of these clear. Let's first measure up 8mm. That's 8mm. Are any of these? No, these are all 10mm. So that means I'm using the wrong collar likely. But I can't see any other collars. And we've already confirmed that the inner diameter at least, or the outer diameter is correct. Let's do the inner diameter. Which is 3. So so I'm going to look for another collar just quickly. The other possibility is there's multiple different types in here. In fact, that's a pretty distinct possibility after having a look at that. Yep, and that's even got a recess, so that definitely goes on here. Okay, so lesson learned. Oh, that fits a lot better. Lesson learned, there's actually two different types of collars in there, and one of them has a recess on one side, and one of them does not. Always put your caps on your scalpel so you don't stab yourself. And we will move on to here. Once again, make sure we don't over tighten the arm. It's looking good. Yep, they're about even. Cool, which means we can pull these back, bring the motor forward, the motor mount forward, grab the collar, put that in the side. Screw it, I'll use tweezers. Oops. Difficult operation this. And I'm rushing because I just heard my phone go off, which can only mean food is on its way. And in fact, it's literally like 5 minutes away. Or at least it was if I was delivering it by bike. These bike couriers are not nearly as fast as I am. .47, yeah, they say 7 minutes away. I'd say that's probably about accurate. Okay, swap you over to you, put you over the ends, all doing it one-handed. This is what rushing will make you do. Oh, you should never rush your builds, but if you do... Right. That time the screw went in, so I'm happy with that. We're not going to fully secure it, we're just going to leave it loose, and then I'm going to finish up the stream. And Thursday, not tomorrow because I've got to work, I've got some work event on. Thursday I'll come back and make some progress, and I think at this pace we'll probably finish up on a Friday. And that is good because then I can do some soldering off screen or possibly over the weekend. If you want me to do soldering on camera, let me know. I can do it, I just normally prefer not to because I don't think it's that interesting. So there we have it. Rather nice steering geometry. So make sure you don't over tighten the screws. In fact, but apart from that, it's relatively straightforward. Awesome. Thanks for joining me, and I shall see you all around. Keep on building.